Hello and welcome to a new art video. Today I am drawing a fun little racer that I sketched out with alcohol markers. I originally sketched it out with colored mechanical pencils. I really love regular mechanical pencils, they're so sketchy, but the graphite always gives a muddy appearance when you add markers, or the only thing that really covers it up is paint. But if you're using markers, you can still see it through. So I find that colored mechanicals work a lot better. They give you the feel of a mechanical pencil without the muddiness, so it's sort of best of both worlds. I picked them up, I think it's the Bic brand, for like $10. You can even get them at the grocery store. They're available pretty much anywhere that I have personally found. Anyways, normally I would talk about the piece that I did for the commentary for this video, but this one is pretty straightforward and I didn't really have any story for it. I did draw cars, which is different for me because I hate drawing them, but I really wanted the main topic to be an art affliction that I think every artist is familiar with. So the art affliction I want to talk about is art block. If you're an artist, I'm sure you're aware how frustrating art block can be. If you've never had art block, you either haven't been an artist for very long or you're somehow a perfect human being. For me personally, the times I've experienced art block is when I'm the most stressed out in my life. Art block is usually more of a mental block. It can prevent you from doing anything creative. I had bad art block for 2 years. I felt like I couldn't draw anything interesting beyond basic portraits and very simple compositions. Drawing was my comfort place, and with art block, it was no longer comforting. Without going into too much detail, that 2-year period was when I had a stressful job, both physically and mentally. The constant stress meant I didn't enjoy anything I liked as much as I used to. It was a dark period for me, and while I eventually got out of it, it felt like there was nothing I could do to recover. I would scroll through amazing art, which would spark me, but like a small candle, eventually that spark dies. I would start an intimidating piece and just abandon it. I created a rule for myself that I still try to stick to, is to stop creating pieces and never finishing them. If something feels daunting, even from the beginning, that means there's a good chance I'm probably never going to see it through. So finish a piece before you move on to the next one. It doesn't need to be perfect, but if you can finish something, that kind of, satisfies your brain a little bit. Even after those 2 years, I still didn't draw a lot. I did a couple other hobbies in the meantime. I knew I'd never abandon art, but it was on the back burner for me. Then something changed. I started watching more art videos, less tutorials, but more just art videos that made art fun with zero pressure. Nothing about fundamentals or practice, which even though those are very important, sometimes that can make art very menial, and if you are in an art block, you definitely want to stay away from anything that is going to get you in that mindset of art is not something fun, but an achievement you have to get to. One of the biggest channels to help me recover was this YouTube channel called Drawfee. Their fun, silly drawings kind of flipped a switch for me. I was trying to force myself into a box of what I wanted, even though my style was not one singular look. I've always had sort of a variety of styles. I like to do realism, but I also really like cartoony styles. And I think it's okay to do both. I think we get stuck into this mindset of thinking that you have to have one style. And while it's important for brand recognition, I think getting away from the brand idea of art kind of destroys what art really means. So I leaned into the fun style and I felt the creativity come back. Taking the pressure off can do wonders. Creativity cannot be forced, and it can be a really delicate thing. Before, I had no ideas, and now I'm back to having too many ideas. Once in a while, I still struggle with the occasional art block. It's always going to be something that you struggle with just as long as you're an artist. There's just going to be times in your life where things aren't going to be as smooth as they used to be, or there's other things going on that make you lose interest, or different ideas that you had that ended up being just a little beyond your level. I know sometimes I can come up with really grand ideas of certain things that I want to draw, and I'm just not really quite capable of drawing them. And I need more studying, more practice. Sometimes my ideas are too big for my artistic britches. So whether that is also a occasional crossroads of art block as well, that's when it's good to go back to simple things that your brain doesn't have to think too much about, that you can just put the pen to paper and just go when you don't really have to think too hard about something. That's usually another good way to help with art block, is just scribbling whatever comes to your mind or whatever just happens as you go, just to loosen up a little bit. I know I've heard a lot of artists have success with that, just taking half an hour, sometimes even an hour before they start doing a full piece of just scribbling, just loosening up, warming up their hand, just to kind of help the juices going. Sometimes it just takes a while to get that creativity going, and sometimes it can be frustrating, especially if you have certain time crunches in your life or you don't have a lot of free time where you can dedicate to art. It's kind of one of those juggling acts that you have to figure out, and art is not something you can rush, and it's tough because I myself don't have a ton of free time to do it, so sometimes it can be kind of stressful trying to put aside some time and say, okay, I have this X amount of time to push something out, and having restrictions like that can definitely affect you, and not always good for the creative process, but sometimes it's either just something you have to live with and get used to, or sometimes it's just something where you have to find a way to tell yourself, no, this doesn't need to be done in a certain amount of time. And that way it's more of a passion product than a product. My hope for your takeaway from this is consider what is stressing you out in life with your art block, why you may be having art block. Sometimes it doesn't really have anything to do with art itself, but what is going on around you. Try a new style, or maybe embrace one you hesitated to pursue. Maybe you wanted to be perfect like this specific artist you really love, but maybe that's not really what you enjoy doing. That's just what you want to enjoy doing. Try a new hobby like sculpting or crochet, something else mildly creative just to keep that creativity going, but something that's different enough where your brain can explore a new idea. Maybe you also need a break. I know sometimes doing commission work can burn you out depending on your discipline or how much you allow yourself to do, whether you allow many sleepless nights or what kind of work you're doing. Is it work you love, or is it starting to become passionless? Try watching fun videos on art instead of serious ones. While I enjoy the serious ones, if you're deep in art block, they may be the opposite of helpful. I think social media really pushes us to be aggressive with our production of art, especially creating what other people enjoy instead of ourselves. This definitely can lead to faster art block. If you have tips for art block, please leave them down below for everyone else to share. It may just help someone out there that is watching the video, and who knows, that could change their whole art life right now, because I know we've all gone through it, and I know getting help is necessary. anyways, I hope you enjoyed my fun racer girl drawing and my ramblings. I did want to just cover the topic a little bit. I know it's a pretty popular topic that artists like to go over, but I just want to share my own personal experience with it. If you liked the video, please consider subscribing, and thank you for watching.